So the point of this video is going to be twofold. First of all, I'm giving you guys an update on that prototype machine that Crazy Russian was working on. So this is the Define XL with our dual GTX 580s. We've got the Core i7-950 processor, and now you can see I've got the H70 water cooling installed, because in order to keep doing our benchmarking, testing, validation, all that good stuff, we had to go ahead and put the system together as intended. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is that the temperatures, even though we are running Linux, are still around 60 degrees on this CPU. Now we're not overclocked yet, but even at stock speeds, that is stock speeds and voltage on that CPU, we managed to drop 20 degrees off the load temperature of the CPU. Now bear in mind, as soon as you start overclocking, that difference between the stock cooler and a good solid aftermarket cooler like the H70 is going to be a lot more, because that heat load will overwhelm the stock cooler, whereas the H70 can keep it under control. So I just want to show you guys some of the features of the Define XL and why we chose it for this particular build. First of all, check out these side panels. I mean, these must weigh like, wow, these must weigh like a few pounds each, like no problem. I mean, I think the case empty with no hardware in it, with all the sound dampening materials and the steel construction, weighs about 30 pounds, so it's very, very heavy. So that also means it's very, very solid. There's absolutely no flex to it whatsoever. In terms of features, here, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So this is the black version of the case. It's also available with a titanium, which is kind of like a gunmetal gray front. Okay, so I want to show you guys all of the features. I know I've been promising to show you features this whole time, but what I've really been doing is killing time so that I can get around to the back of the case and show it to you. So you can cable things a little bit more tidily at the back than we've done here. The reason for this is that we're basically throwing it together to do some prototype testing. This is not a finished production machine, so we'd have all these zip tied together and we'd have them all sort of tucked out of the way. But speaking of tucking cables out of the way, look how much space you have at the back. Like, you see so many cases with space designed so that you can tuck cables around the back, but then there's actually no gap. Like, we've actually, here, get around a little bit further even, and you can see there's more than an inch of space between these drive cages and the side panel. You can tuck any cables back there. Same thing behind the hard drives. You've got like 2 inches of space to actually put your cables in the back of the drives and then tuck any extra cabling away out of sight and out of mind. So that's pretty cool. And so they've also got the removable motherboard backplate. I did a full unboxing of the Define XL once already, so you can see all of the features of it there. So we're just going to go through like really quickly here. So the dual 140mm front fans. We still have to install this one. This is just an in-progress shot because we took the 140mm fan from the back where the H70 is now installed, so it's here, and we're going to go ahead and throw that in the front for this build. And speaking of places to tuck cables, we've also got a really cool place. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that this power supply isn't modular looking at this build from any angle other than like way down here, where you can see that we've tucked a bunch of cables up here. So you've got a ton of space to hide away your cables on your power supply, even if you're using a non-modular power supply. Overall spec of the machine, so I'll show you where we mounted everything. We've got our SSD in here in one of the drive sliders, so you can hold up to 10 hard drives or 10 SSDs. Then we have our storage drive here. Remember, this is the Performance Edition, so it has a storage drive, it has the bigger power supply, it has the dual GTX 580s, it has the faster RAM, it has the H70 instead of the H50, and there's a bunch of advantages to getting the Performance Edition build. So yeah, I mean, cable management is mostly been shown. You've got these little silicone guys here. You can see that unlike the Define R2, they've been dramatically improved on the Define XL as well as the Define R3, so they're much more floopsy, for lack of a better word. And because with the old ones, basically as soon as you put something through it, they were kind of like stuck in that position, whereas these ones are much easier to not like damage and bend. So there, that was a long drawn out way of saying that they're a higher quality grommet. And I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to say. I mean, you can check out the huge fan here on the top of the case. So you've got a ton of exhaust going out the back of the case here, all of that hot air from the CPU cooler, as well as any air coming from around the MOSFETs. You've got nice airflow over the RAM. It's just taking all that and blowing it out the back of the case. So thank you for checking out this little video about the Vesta 6050 in progress build, as well as sort of an extreme gaming machine build in the Fractal Design Define XL. Hope you sort of got a pretty good idea of what kind of cooling features and hardware containing features this case has. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips and check out Crazy Russian's Facebook page, ncix.com, facebook.com/NCIX PC.